Hey there guys, welcome again to Power 5, and today we're going to be making some enemies with some cool animations and this cool hit flash stuff. We're also going to be covering the kill counter in this video, so let's begin. So before that, if you're new here, consider subscribing. I make Godot tutorials and only 3% of you guys are subbed, which is very low, so smash subscribe. Thank you. So hey there guys, first off I want to actually edit one of my code, which is in the player, and here we just say if not is on wall, move the y plus equals gravity. So if we're not on the wall, then we want to start moving down. So if we're on the wall, then there's no need for gravity, we're going to skip that and stuff. So I'm just doing that just to save processing time and stuff like that. So I think that should be good. The next thing we want to do, as promised, is the enemy. So here we're just going to make another another scene, and this is just going to be the enemy.tscn. I'm going to save that in our objects directory, and we're going to make another node, collision shape as usual, and the next one is animated sprites. So the normal animated sprites, we're just going to put in our sprites in there. So we just go to frames, new sprite frames, click that, make this run, because we are only going to have one state, which is the running, because we're the enemy and we're never going to be idle. So we add this grid like icon, enemy strip.r. As you can see, I've imported my enemy assets, open, put this to 1, put this to 4, and we add all the 4 frames. Here we go, and make this 15. We're gonna click playing just to see the animation play out there. If you don't know what I just did, I did this exactly with the player. So if you've been following the series, I expect you to know this, but if you're not here from the series, you can go over and check part 1, where you see that I did the player animation and stuff like that. So we have our collision shape 2D, and we're going to give it just a normal square as usual, and increase the size of this. Anyway, I'm just going to make it in front of the sprite so we can see it there. Hope you guys can see it from the video, because it's somehow merging with the background. I want to change the color of this collision shape, because it's actually looking weird. So just go over to self-modulate and modulate this how we want. Fine. So I think this is better. So we're going to save this. As usual, give the enemy a script, object.gd. We'll save it in the objects directory. So we're going to be setting some variables. First off, we are going to set the time map, which is going to be our game scene node, getting the time map. So it's just going to get the game and get the time map and stuff. So that's what this get rid or get current scene is doing. It's just going to get that current scene, and the only place our enemy is ever going to be is the current scene, so we don't have to worry about that. So this other one, export variable flip, so this is actually going to be keeping track of if we're turning left or turning right with this guy, and by default it's going to be false. Then move to be equal to vector 2 130. Anyways, I'm just going to rename this to speed, and over here make an export variable speed, so that we can actually change it throughout our other enemies. So now the next one, hit points, is going to be equal to 4. I think I'm just also going to export this one, and we should be good. Next thing we want to do is just our normal movement code, which is so this is the simple movement code. We are pretty much done. So we can go back to the game scene, and don't be scared as you see the script icon. I'm going to show you what that is in the future. So almost at the end of this tutorial, I'm going to show you that, and it's not going to affect your run or anything. So we have this, and it's complete. We run this anyways. We don't have any guy in there yet, so we just add our enemy, and let's just say we put all of them, we parent a new node in a node 2D. So just say enemies. So yeah, I think we should be good with that. The enemy, we're going to drag it over somewhere we can see, and yeah, fine. We hit F6 and see what's going to happen. So as you can see, our enemy fell from that ledge and was running, and he's still running, and he met this place. He has met this place and he's still running. So that's not what we want. We want a situation whereby when he reaches here, he's going to turn back and be running just the way I'm running, like this, and hit here, turn back. And also, I don't want him to be falling off ledges, so he's going to just reach here, turn back, reach here, turn back, and stuff like that. So we're going to be implementing all that in code, and I'm going to be copying and pasting code just because I want to make this tutorial a bit snappy. So we first off, we want to get our direction change function. So as you can see here, what this direction change is doing is just going to flip the direction, flip the value of flip. So if flip is false, it's don't flip to true. If flip is true, it's don't flip to false. Then we want to flip our sprite. As you can see here, I renamed it to sprite. Make sure you do that. So we're going to make the flip h of sprite to be equal to flip. So it's going to be true or false. And move the x equals to move the x times -1. So move the x is 130 right now. So if we multiply it by -1, it gives us -130, which makes us move in the left direction. Anyways, I can just say times equal to, instead of saying putting all this long like this, I can just say times equals to -1, and it will still give us the same thing. The next function we want to get is our check for walls function. So what this function is going to do essentially is it's going to get some info from our current tile. So the tile here is going to be the position of a tile actually, and it's going to get the tile map, the cell v tile. What this cell v is doing is just going to return the index of a cell, and if the tile info is -1, then that means there is no tile there and we want to flip direction. As you can see here, direction changed. So if there's a tile here, it won't give us a -1, so we're just going to ignore this and stuff. So now for what will be controlling this check for wall function, because right now it's not called, what we're going to do is we're going to put an if statement here. So this if statement is just flipping between two states. So we say if not flip. So right now if flip is false, that means if not flip, that means if flip is false, that means we're moving in the right hand side direction, because by default flip is false and we're moving right. So then var tile is equal to tile map the wall to map. What wall to map does is it just returns the tile map with its grid coordinates and stuff like that. So what essentially that is doing is, if you click the tile map here, as you can see, this tile is good. If you point in any position inside this tile, it's just going to return that same tile, and that's what it's just trying to do. So we go over to our enemy, and that's what the multi-map is doing. So we're going to check wherever our global position is +16. So why do we do that? If you go over here, we see our enemy. This one is for actually the falling off ledges stuff. So if we run and reach here, it's going to check 16 pixels in front of it and 32 pixels below it. So that's what this 16 plus 32 plus 16 and 32 is. So it's going to check this. If this gives us an invalid cell, then we want to turn back. If it gives us a good cell, we want to keep running. That means we're not yet at the end of the road. And if this guy is here, that means flip is equal to false. Sorry, that means flip is equal to true. I'm sorry, I don't know what's actually going on with my mouse and stuff. So if flip is equal to true, then this else statement will be called, and the new tile will be wall to map -16. So global position -16 and 32. So minus is in the backward direction, that's why we use -16, and 32 pixels downward. So it's going to check if there's a tile here. If there's no tile, we're going to change direction and all that stuff. So yeah, that's all, pretty much all we need to do, I guess. So this function over here, this whole statement with the check wall and stuff, it's only for the falling off ledges part. But for the parts where it's going to hit a wall and go back, if this guy is somewhere around here now, and for example, we check 16 pixels back and 32 pixels down, you see that there is actually still a tile there. So it's going to just still have that effect, which is not cool. So what we want to do is you want to go to your enemy and want to create a new node, which is an area 2D, and we're just going to name this wall underscore detect. So we're going to create another one, collision shape. And if you've been watching my tutorials, you know where I'm going with this. So if we click shape, we're going to click a new segment shape. So this is going to this is what is going to be detecting objects that we're hitting and stuff like that. So we're going to click the new segment shape. We just want to give this a fixed value. Y change it back to 0, and x will be like A13. So yes, so wherever this area of this enemy hits an object, it must not necessarily be a wall, or it's just an object. Just rename this object detect obj detect. Okay, so wherever we hit this, or wherever this thing touches, as long as it's a body, then we're going to flip direction. So we just connect the body enter signal, connect this, and wherever we hit a body, then we just want direction changed to be called. So I think we should be good with that. Or nope, there is one last thing I would have forgotten to do. I know we're running long a bit. Just know that timestamps will be in the description. So we want to call our object detect when we direction change, because if the direction is changed, then it's going to be running backwards, and if we touch it out here, this guy won't be present there to like detect the collision. So we're going to say dot rotation degrees is equal to 180. So this guy will be equal to 180, and only if flip. So if flip is true, that means we're running backwards, then we want this guy to be 180 degrees, and else 0. So if it's 0, if flip is false, then we are running forward, we want it to return back to where it was. So yeah, I think we're done with that. I think that should be all we need. Hopefully we're gonna hit play. So as you can see, our guy is running on the ledge there and he refuses to fall. So I'm going to duplicate him and keep him somewhere here, so that we can just see how this back and forth stuff is working. And in order for us not to move anywhere, we're just going to create more tiles just to block him there. So as you can see, he's running, he's touching this guy, and which is really cool. And if I come here, he touches me, he's going to turn back and stuff. But as you can see, we cannot interact with him, we cannot show him, we cannot do anything. And that's what we want to do now. So first off, I like this hit flash stuff that actually goes on, which is really cool. So I'm going to implement that first. So from here, we go to our enemy, you go over to sprite, and it's the sprite that is going to be doing all that stuff. So we go over here to material, new shader material. We're going to be using shaders for this, and we're going to click it and click shader, new shader, and you're going to see some text edit pop up like this. Make sure you click this shader to see it. So now this shader we're going to be doing is going to be from Game Endeavor's channel. I'm sorry, I don't really know about shaders and not really ready to learn yet. But anyways, you can go over to his channel and see this tutorial, which is really cool. I like it. So we're going to use his shader instead. So this is the shader we're going to use. I don't really want to explain all this. Anyways, briefly, this is going to be like an export variable, which is going to export a vector, a color, and this is going to be another export variable, which is going to export like a range or something like that. And this is where all our color changing code will be. So I don't really know what those mean, but anyways, you can go read it up. And as I said, you can go over to Game Endeavor's channel. Link will be in the description, hopefully, if I don't forget. So we go over here to shader parameters, and once you've pasted that code in, I advise you just pause the video and copy all this stuff in. So once you paste that code in, you're going to have some shader parameters. As I said, this will be like the color that was an export variable and something like a range. So right now the color is white. We can increase this, and you see that our player turns to a white silhouette, and we can actually change this color to any color that we want. Yeah, and our player is just going to change to that silhouette. So I want it to be white because white is cool, and I'm okay with that. So I want to create an animation player node, where I'll just have a new one called Flash. Over here, we'll go back to the sprites. If we open up the animation, the material, we're going to key in this flash modifier. So we're going to key it at the 0, we're going to move it 0.1 seconds after, click it at a 1, click it once, the next one 0.1, we return it back to 0, and it becomes E with this stuff. So put it back to 0 and key it in, put it next second, put it back to 1 and key it in. So I think this should be okay. I'm just going to reduce this to a 0.5 and we're going to play the animation just to see. As you can see, it's really cool and it's changing the color. I want to return this back to 0 so that it can return to what we brought it as. As you can see, it's flashing really nicely and I like that the way that flashing is going. So we got our flash working. Now is actually to detect if the bullet hits us or not. So we're going to hit Control A, area to the, which is going to be our heart box. I know some of you might be saying he loves area 2D so much, but anyways, yeah, these are like almost the best. So I have a collision shape and this is going to be a capsule shape, just so that we can give the player a greater chance of hitting him there and stuff. So you might not see this though. Hopefully it's not camouflaging too well with the background. Okay, yeah, that would be better. So I'm done with that. We're gonna create put a signal, body entered, yeah. And for now we're just gonna leave that as pass. So what we want to do is we want to go over to the player's bullet and add it to a group. So go to bullet.tscn, add it to a groups, and we're gonna add it to a player bullet group, career_bullets, add. So we're just gonna copy this, Ctrl C, add. So we are going to use this group later on. So it's going to check, the enemy is going to check if the body that just hit us, or sorry, is meant to be an area. So I'm going to go over to signals, on area entered. I'm sorry for this. We're going to disconnect that. So on area entered, then we want to check if the area is in that group. So the area right now is a bullet. Sorry, yeah, the area that is hitting us is the bullet and is in a group. So if the hot box detects anything that is from that group and it sees that it's an area, then we want to carry out whatever. So we say hit points minus equals 1. That's the first thing we want to do, and then we want to play the animation. So we say animation player. I'm just gonna rename this whole stuff to anim, okay, anim the play flash. So we're gonna play the flash if we are touched by bullets, and if hit points is equal to 0, then just delete ourselves for now. So this is going to work nicely. And another thing I wanted to implement was like a score counter system. So I'm not going to run the scene now, just so that I'll not waste time. We'll go over to BG. As you can see, I have a label here and I've actually put in my own font. Yeah, I put in my own font. This font will be available on GitHub. Just go over there, you can get the whole assets pack and stuff. So we go back to fonts. I have a font here, agency FB, and that's what I used, agency b.ttf. So that's what you use as the font. Just create a new label, go back to fonts, hit new dynamic font, and we put this as the font there. The the settings, I have a 50. You can just play around with these other values of the outline size, outline color, and stuff, just to get your desired effect. So we're going to make this visible. As you can see, we have it here. Just know that I manually actually placed it in the middle of the scene, and I gave it some kind of extension just in case our skills increases and stuff. The name that is given to you right now is skills, and I think we're good. So now over here the game, this is the script that I added. Just know that this label here, this script is not actually added to the file directory. It's something like this. I just want to see. I clicked built-in scripts and it's just be embedded in the scene, and that's what I did for this label so that I won't have so many files there. So for our game scene, we added a new function, which is the add point function. So if you kill somebody, you want to add a point and stuff. So it's going to get the bg/label.kills plus equals 1. So if we go over here, we're going to see that there's a variable called kills. So we're going to get that variable and add it by 1. And over here you can see a function another keyword setGet add kills. What a setGet is doing is whenever this guy is being updated by anybody or even by itself, it's going to call this function. So the function is add kills v. Just know that it has to have a variable inside. I just made my own v. So kills plus equals 1, or should I, yeah, kills plus equals 1 whenever we call the function, and text equals to kills plus string kills. So the text that will be given by this label will be kills plus whatever our current kills are and stuff. So I think we should be good with that, with everything working. I want to add some other enemies, so just Control D, W, put one here, Control D, and just put 2 here. So yeah, I'm going to replay this. So as you can see, everybody is running around really crazy walk, and the problem is if I shoot one person, you see that all of them flash, which is a problem. So there's a way I can fix that, and for some reason the bullets are not really colliding well. So the way I can fix that all flashing stuff is over here, the bullets, sorry, no, at the enemy. Here we see sprites. We go over to our shader. We want to go over to resource and say local to scene. So this one will make this whatever is going on here local to the scene, so it's only going to affect that particular instance. And the other stuff where the bullet is not really touching the enemy, that's because in our code here we're just keeping, we're adding positions to it. So we're basically like skipping some positions, and that's why it's not colliding properly. But in the next video we're going to fix that bug and stuff. So we should probably be done. As you can see now, I can show one guy and it doesn't affect all of them and stuff. It's really nice, and it's just going to like delete them from the scene. And you see our kills is not increasing for some reason, and that's just because we don't have a here. So we say func on the exit tree, then we want to get underscore pair get tree the current scene dot underscore add points, and this is just going to fix that. So just run it quickly, and if we kill somebody, you see that the kills increases and everything works nicely. So I like this. I like the way we are going. This is part 5, and the next episode will be part 6 obviously. And in that video we're going to be covering the transitions and menu screens and stuff like that, so we can actually move through scenes and move through levels, hopefully. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. If you are new here, consider subscribing as I said earlier, and supporting me on my Patreon page is out now, and you can go over there, link will be in the description. Go support me with $1 or $2, and I'll be grateful, and I'll show you all in my videos. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Smash subscribe, stay tuned for part 5, and goodbye.